And joining us now, great to welcome a woman who's put together a very interesting book, educational book as well, fits right in with our format here on the Big Bad Files show. It's called Welcome to Jazz, a swing-along celebration of America's music. And we're joined today by Carolyn Sloan. She's a songwriter, musician, also teaches music at the Berkeley Carroll School up in Brooklyn, New York. She joined us by telephone today. And Carolyn, good to talk with you. How are you?
I'm very well, Doug. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, good to have a chance to chat with you for a couple of minutes. But when I had the opportunity, when they presented to have you on to talk about this book, I'm glad there was such a book like this, because I'm not sure kids are getting exposed to jazz like maybe, when I was a kid, my parents had the records. That's how I kind of got into it. And there was a radio station in New York they used to listen to. Maybe you were aware of it. I don't know if you were up there in Brooklyn at the time, WNEW. So that's my exposure, but I think what you're doing is a good service. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I think it's important to introduce kids to great music.
Jazz in particular, because like I said, you don't hear a lot of it on radio. You have to look for it. It's there, but it's not front and center, or you have to look for the records, or now downloaded, I guess, somewhere. But are kids enjoying jazz from your experience? I mean, you teach music. Once they hear it, I guess they like it, right?
I think if you introduce it to them in ways that can break it down for them, and so and you play them the kind of music that they can really sort of grab onto, because there's discernible melodies and rhythms, and yes, they're going to love it. It's really important how you introduce something, so that's why in the book there are these kind of short sound files that you can actually listen to that illustrate these concepts and makes it abstract concepts really concrete for kids, and therefore more enjoyable, I think.
It's a book for children, and it's kind of, like you said, a lot of pictures in it that kind of explain some of the origins of jazz. And then each part of the book has a thing where we'll push this button right on the right side of the book, and you hear like what a banjo or a drum set or a rhythm section to kind of explain what the elements of jazz are.
Exactly. So it features different instruments, but it also, by featuring the instruments, features what the instruments actually do in the band, like how they function. So, for instance, you mentioned banjo. So the banjo, you can hear the banjo, but you can also hear the banjo strumming the beat, and you can hear how the beat stays steady and it's constant. As you contrast that with rhythm that's played by the drum set, has rhythms that are varied, right, and changeable, and that fit with the beat, but that are not constant. Right. So you learn both things. You learn sort of the terminology and also the instruments and how they function.
Did the format of the book kind of come out of your teaching, Carolyn, or how'd you put it together? It's a great idea. I've never seen one quite like this before. How'd you put it together?
Well, I a while back I had this idea that I wanted to take kids to a concert in a book. And I wanted them to hear the music in the book, but I didn't want it to be cumbersome, so I didn't want there to be like something that you had to like put into, a CD-ROM or something like that. I wanted it to be immediate, and because kids want things to be immediate. So this way, when we're talking about something in the book, whether it's Beethoven 5 or whether it's When the Saints Go Marching In with jazz, that the kids can push the button, they hear it, and they understand it. Music is pretty abstract, so when you press the button and you can hear the example, you're like, oh, okay, now I get what you're talking about.
I think it's also great, and again, nothing wrong with computers and tablets and phones and all that, but it's a book, which is good to see kids looking at, right? Instead of they have to go to their screen and do it. I think that adds to it, right? So it's kind of old school in a sense, right? Even though you're using chip technology, it's old school.
Yep. It's totally old school in the sense it's really morphing the two technologies and sort of creating a new technology that sort of brings the two together. It's true that very techies would initially, they were sort of laughing at me. They were like, oh, the world's going digital and you're going analog. I'm like, yeah, but it's really important for a kid to hold a book, turn a page, look at the pictures, not have to look at a screen, and use their fingers to push the buttons and hear something live, like through the speaker, that's not on a screen. And also, this is a nice way, there's been all this research now about, kids shouldn't be looking at screens because of the blue light, like before they go to bed. It interferes with sleep.
Right.
And this is really a great way for them to have that kind of multimedia experience, but in a book.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And again, the origins of jazz are really almost the origins of American history as well. I mean, it started in America, right, late 1800s in a sense. So there's a lot of history involved with it. So you're teaching history and music, aren't you?
It's very true. I mean, I think you can't separate it from American history, and that's why I was kind of surprised, why jazz doesn't make more of an appearance in our curriculums in school, because this really is a part of American history. I mean, it's even, the origins happen way before even the late 1800s. Mm-hmm. We're talking about when Louisiana didn't even really belong to the United States, and there were Africans that were forcibly brought here by both the French and the Spanish, and all of this music that came along with this kind of forced, migration, if you will, that is really important to note, and it is the basis of our American music. And to understand all of this and to realize this rich history makes it even more beautiful, that this amazing art form that is kind of constantly evolving really is like the ultimate beauty triumphing over adversity. I mean, I know that sounds sort of heady and overly important, but for me, it's really important for kids to understand that this is like truly our American music, and this is an art form that is constantly evolving and living and breathing. So I think it's a really important thing for kids to know about.
Yeah, I guess jazz and American musical theater, pretty much the truest American art forms, right? I mean, we pretty much invented both, so and both have elements of jazz in them, right? So that's a good thing.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. I mean, musical theater, I think, also kind of stems from opera, which is
right.
also European tradition. But, it's interesting, in New Orleans, there was French opera at the time, and, jazz kind of came out of all of these different musical traditions, and is kind of unique really to the United States.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, the book is called Welcome to Jazz, a swing-along celebration of America's music, and we've been talking with Carolyn Sloan today, and I should mention the great illustrations in the book by Jessica Gibson, very important as well. She did a great job on that. Did you know her before you put the book together?
No, the Workman Publishing actually put it together, and they're really fantastic. They're so engaging, and they're so representative of what it would be like to go hear music in a New Orleans jazz club, so I'm really grateful to her for that.
Yeah, great job on that. And again, published, like you said, by Workman. Do you have a website, Carolyn, you want to direct people to get the book, get more information?
Sure. The website is my name, CarolynSloan.com, but you can get the book anywhere books are sold, so Amazon.com, Workman.com, your local independent bookseller will have it. You can really find it anywhere.
Great. We'll also put a link on our website. But Carolyn, great talking with you, and good luck with the book. Hopefully we can talk to you again. Thanks for being with us.
I would love that. Thank you so much, Doug.
Oh, when the saints go marching in. Oh, when the saints go marching in. Oh, how I want to be in that number. When the saints go marching in.
Thank you for joining us today on Talk Across America. Please visit our website at dougmilesmedia.com for more great interviews and content. And if you're interested in any of the books we talk about on the program, please click the Amazon link on our website. It helps support the podcast. Thanks for listening. We'll see you again real soon here from beautiful Sarasota, Florida.
I'm Stan Brock. 30 years ago, I formed Remote Area Medical to help people overseas. But then we found generations of families in America isolated by poverty from the health care they need. Together, we can take dental, vision, and medical help to 1 million adults and their kids, right here at home in the United States of America.